Thank you so much for joining our panel discussion on youth and long-term financial investments. The turnout was amazing and it's all thanks to your support and your sharing our posters. Our next panel discussion topic is going to be on funds, on small-scale investment funds. Funds that you just start up with your friends and family where you pull together cash and as a collective, you then proceed to invest in various long-term financial investments, for example. Looking forward to seeing you there. Don't forget to like our social media handles, DYV Africa. Follow us so that you stay updated. Thank you so much.
She's a ZRDC fellow. Sarah is a financial literacy enthusiast. She's also passionate about the youth managing their finances better, the youth taking advantage of different investment vehicles, and she loves seeing the youth prosper. From Zambia, our beautiful neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Zulu. Good evening, Sarah. Hi, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you very much. How's Zambia this evening?
It is warm. Summer has started for us, so Zambia is quite warm.
Great. Just like Malawi. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I guess we are going to start. We're going to start with the background to long-term financial investments. So let me invite Dindwase Jere to start the ball rolling. Dindwase, the floor is yours, madam.
So thank you so much, Stan, and everyone. Give me a minute. I would like to upload my presentation and kindly confirm once it has come through. So here we go. There you go. Are you able to view it?
Not yet, no.
Okay, give me a second. How about now?
We are still unable to see it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's do it like this. Even though you guys are not able to see my presentation, I'll still talk to it. And Stan mentioned that you'll be taking notes. It's a very short presentation. I'll also attach it in the chat so that in case you might need to refer to while I'm still figuring it out how best to share this one with you, because sometimes technology just lets us down. But for the sake of time, because I've been given exactly 8 to 10 minutes to introduce this topic, Stan, with your permission, can I please proceed?
Sorry, Stanley. Someone is they're unable to join in. The meeting is at capacity. Do you want to check that, please?
Okay, I think I'll leave that to Bongani. Bongani, may you please deal with that? And Dindwase, over to you.
You still are not able to see my presentation?
Okay, now we can see. Now it's fine.
Finally. Okay, let me just put it in presentation mode. It's a very brief presentation, really, with about 7 slides. So here we go. Well, in this short presentation, there are about 3 things that I would like to discuss with you. First of all, we're looking at the importance of long-term investments and who exactly can invest in long-term investments, and a few examples of long-term investments. And then my colleagues who will come in later from the other countries are also going to discuss what are the challenges and what are the solutions, as well as other examples. I'm not going to exhaust everything that is on long-term investments because it's a topic that has been shared amongst the 4 of us. So if we are to start with the importance of long-term investments, first of all, maybe we get to define what are long-term investments. The definition that I've provided there simply refers to assets, securities, anything that an individual can acquire, or be it maybe you are a business or maybe you are an organization, and with the intention that you still hold on to these assets at least for a period of 7 years minimum. I stand to be corrected, but yeah, we're looking at 7 years, even up to 10 years, or even 20 years. And why is it important that we should discuss this topic? Why are long-term investments important? Why is it worthy a topic of discussion? First of all, if we consider long-term investments, we consider at the capital gains. This in general, we're trying to refer to a scenario whereby the value of whatever it is that you're acquiring today is likely to be higher in 10 years' time, or even in 15 years' time, or even in 20 years' time. So somebody is focusing on the long-term view that come 10 years, whatever it is worth acquiring today, it will be of higher value, be it monetary-wise, or indeed just in value by whoever the valuer is going to be at that particular time. The second reason why we should consider long-term investments is that it's a source of income when one can no longer earn income. For instance, right now, some of us might be working, maybe some of us are doing some businesses. Well, but you come to consider that what will happen in the next 10 years or in the next 15 years when I am no longer working. If you get to invest in long-term investments, you are at least more or less assured that you indeed get to have some income by then. Not that you should be wondering where the next income will be simply because you did not plan earlier on. The other reason is that just for leisure, nowadays people travel. Just look at what social media has. People are traveling to different countries. People are traveling to places they've never been before, but then that needs planning. You just can't decide today and say, I want to go to France without proper planning. So if you start planning, say maybe what you want to do in the next 5 years or 10 years or indeed 15 years, especially for the youth, we need to know that the planning has to start now. Think of it in the what you want to do in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, the leisure activities that you want to engage in. Most of the people who are traveling at the moment, or most of the people that can be said to be enjoying a life full of leisure, are those that did some prior planning. And then the other reason there that has been listed is that people do acquire long-term assets, or at least indeed invest using long-term instruments, so that at least it leaves an inheritance for their children. If I'm planning, for instance, for the record, I've got 4 kids, and I would like to leave an inheritance for my kids, I should not wait till I'm 65 or 70 to start considering that what is it that I would want to leave as an inheritance. Even the word of God in the Bible, if you read the Bible, you're going to see cases whereby fathers and mothers took great care in planning for what their children are likely to have. You find people like Abraham and people like Lot who were too old in quotes, but nevertheless they were engaging in activities that ensure that their descendants are likely to enjoy whatever it is that they've decided to invest on. So yeah, to leave an inheritance for the children. And then the last reason that I've indicated there on this particular slide is that for future investments. For instance, almost all of us here, let me be biased towards the working class. For instance, maybe our earnings today might not be enough for us to purchase things like a house just like that, or maybe the car of our dreams. But then if you plan to say, come 7 years from now, come 8 years from now, 20 years from now, I want to live in such a house. I want to be able to buy such a house. You start planning way in advance so that whenever that time comes, you're able to acquire indeed whatever it is that you were dreaming of. So long-term investments do really help people to achieve their dreams. And further, if we look at the instruments that are involved as far as long-term investments are concerned, you will see that every one of us in this forum is able to acquire things. Maybe we just look at others and think, how did they do that? But truth be told, it all goes about planning. If I can go to the next slide, I'll just share with you at least 6 examples. But my colleagues, I'm sure they might add more. This list is not exhaustive. There are some other ways of how somebody can engage in long-term investments. The first one that I've listed there is stocks and shares. I was informed, I stand to be corrected, of course, that the previous discussion was about investment in shares, and they went into details on how one can invest into shares. Nevertheless, just to give a brief on how stocks or shares qualify as long-term, is that you can buy a share for whatever counter today, for whatever company that is listed on the stock exchange. I'll give an example. Right now, one of the hot selling shares on the market, in Malawi that is, we're talking about Airtel shares. Barely about 2 years ago, when the company decided to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange, the IPO, the price itself was about 12 kwacha per single share. But then 2 years down the line, at the moment, the share price has moved to 100 kwacha. So imagine somebody who purchased about 50,000 shares at 12,000. It means the value has increased. The shares are now worth more. Now come to think of it, after 8 years or after 10 years, of course, some things can happen along the way that can affect the share price. But all things being equal, the belief is that these shares will continue to rise. And I see billionaires of people who simply had a few stocks in the very first place, but now are simply gaining the value. The second instrument listed, I've indicated there, bonds. In Malawi, popularly known as treasury bills, where the government does borrow funds and reaches out to the public that they should invest. So as an individual, you can go to any bank and then meet people who are in the treasury department and simply ask that you get to buy bonds. They'll give you the number of bonds that are available on the market. They will assist you with the pricing. You don't even know, you don't even have to know how to calculate the pricing. It's all done for you. So there's no such thing as maybe I need to be in the finance industry to make these investments. Let me proceed. I think somebody may be accidentally unmuted. So you can invest, and for instance, there's a 365-year treasury bill, there's a 2-year T-note, there's a 5-year T-note, there's even a 10-year T-note, which individuals as well as organizations can get to invest. So you choose. And remember, long term, we are not focusing on something that you can easily say, I'll get rid of it. You really have to be very patient. You really have to consider the period. I would say more or less forget that you even have got that particular investment. At the end of the period, the value gets to be much more. So in simpler words, maybe if I can say in a layman's language, for a bond, for instance, you can invest 100,000 Malawi kwachas today. In 10 years' time, depending on how the interest rates are faring on the market, it can get to even 1 million. Of course, I've just used a very crude example, but basically that's how it operates. So if you want to have 1 million in the next 5 years or 6 years, consider investing 100,000 kwacha today. The third example of long-term investments I've written the real estate. Again, you don't have to be an expert in that particular area, but there are so many consultants out there that you can find out. There are also so many agents that also do handle these transactions. You could start by saying, maybe I'll simply acquire some land. Start making inquiries. How much is a piece of land in such an area? Or what does it take? Start finding out about the prices. Don't wait to have about lots and lots of monies to start making these inquiries. You should start now, even if you don't have that penny, because once you start having dreams, once you have creating visions in your head, believe you me, it also attracts a positive energy that will lead you eventually to achieve that dream. I don't know how best I can explain it, but I guess God comes to play, and really our dreams are more or less what we keep thinking about, and then we start attracting a positive energy that leads to us to fulfill the particular dreams. So I'm hoping really that even after this presentation, we start writing down what is it exactly that we want to achieve in the next 10 years. Write it down, get a notebook, write down, is it land? Is it shares? Is it whatever form of investment you want to achieve? And then you focus on that and start researching on that. Let me proceed to the next one, which I've said it's mutual funds. Mutual funds, sometimes to go solo as an individual to invest might be a tall order. But what some people do is they can team up. For instance, maybe it could be a family, or maybe it could be a group of friends. You get to agree that let's put our resources together. Maybe we can be contributing, say, 10,000 kwacha per month. And then once we get to 2 million, we go and buy shares, or we invest in shares. And then you also get to establish conditions to say we are not going to withdraw these funds maybe until such a date. In Chichewa, there's a word, we call it chipere ganyo. Some people do say it's village banking. It's some sort of like a crude way of investing, but it really does help. But then again, it requires a great level of discipline and indeed high levels of trust. I'm sure that will be tackled when we come across the challenges that are associated with long-term investments. The other forms of long-term investment listed here is the precious metals. In Malawi, well, it's not so common. My screen is behaving, but anyway, let me just focus on that one. The precious metals, say maybe the countries outside Malawi, people do invest in gold. People do invest in silver, or I hope some of us have heard about Bitcoins. Those can also be considered as long-term investments that one might want to consider when they are contemplating on what to invest. And let me just go back. And the last thing that has been listed therein is the private equity. This one more or less works like shares, but shares, normally we talk of an institution that has been listed on the stock exchange. This is more or less like public, right? But I should say more or less quite the opposite. You can decide to invest in some private companies, maybe those which have extended their shares to just a few individuals, not necessarily open to the public. If you get to be offered such an opportunity, you can also get to invest. If I can summarize this, really, this is applicable to all of us because these might be big words, yes, but believe you me, the amount required to start these long-term investments is not much. Even with 10,000 kwacha, you can start with these. And it doesn't have to, normally it's recommended that you don't have to pick only one element. We need to, not place the eggs in one basket. You can invest in shares, you can invest in metals, you can invest in maybe the bonds itself, so that at least if one particular form of investment gets negatively impacted with forces in the market, you still have got value for the other forms of long-term investments that you got into. And I think before I hand over to my colleague, to the next colleague who's going to continue on the presentation, I just wanted to emphasize the point that who is it that can do long-term investments? It does not have to take somebody to be 40 years to start investing. It doesn't take somebody to be that old or to retirement. You know how our parents more or less gave us the impression that you had to get to 60 and then start thinking of what to do when you are no longer working. But quite contrary, what needs to be done is it starts now. You can start even at the age of 18. You can start your long-term investments. Go to the institutions that do offer these long-term investments, and that's the requirements. Sometimes all it needs is just a letter from your parents to say they are in support of what you're doing. And if indeed, if you're, excuse me, if you are of the right age, you can start making decisions. And by the time you get into that habit, if you start at 18, 19, by the time you get to 30 or thereabouts, you already have the discipline of saving into long-term investments. I think for now, let me pass it on to my colleague. Thank you so much, Stan. I stand to be guided on how best to proceed.
Thank you very much, Dindwa. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot. I have learned a lot. I've learned why long-term investments are important. I've also learned that you can get income from long-term investments. For some of us that are married and have kids, they also act as an inheritance for our children. They act as future investments, and they also get capital gains. Thank you very much. We've also learned about the examples of long-term finance. And I also like the point where you said that our dreams are what we start thinking about today. So from our dreams, we can realize, and we should not be afraid to invest into long-term finance. Okay, thank you very much, Dindwase Jerry. I've also seen that your husband is also on the line supporting the wife. Thank you very much, Victor. I've also seen you. Okay, now, yes, somebody has asked if you can please share the presentations. Yes, that will be done. Don't worry about that. Now, let us tackle something very different. let's tackle examples of long-term finance. I'm not sure if Siatla is on the line. He says that he's not able to reconnect. Okay. So for day Sunday, are you ready? Can you give us about examples of long-term finance, challenges to long-term finance, and solutions to long-term finance? For day.
Hi.
Over to you, sir.
Everyone. Hi, everyone. Basically, more prepared for the topic on the challenges and solutions to long-term investment. And I believe Siatla, is that Siatla that's supposed to handle key examples? Well, from what thing we say has built on, and I think it's a very smooth route to just go. And based on the presentation of some of the challenges and practically solutions given as well along the conversation, then examples we might see along the way as well. So let me try to share my screen. Let me know when you get it. Okay.
We can see it.
Okay. So by the way, I'm also a graphic designer, not the pro version one, but yes. So I try to do something very simple or just to get you all engaged and in trying to have this presentation on. So so this is my take overall when it comes to long-term investment. From what Dean Ray said, I've already said in terms of precious gold, leisure, in terms of retirement as well. You cannot just jump into long-term investment just like that. You have to start planning. So meaning you have to sow the seed now. You have to start at a base. So meaning that you have to get your things right. You know, I want to invest in stock. You know, I want to get into precious metal. You have to start. And yeah, also you cannot wait till 70 or 50 or 40 years. It has to always have a start. So planning is very crucial. Next is prioritizing. That is basically because that will give you focus. And specifically, I was listening the other day to, I think the name is Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb. And one thing he actually mentioned, and I think this is really, really key for everyone on board this call right now, is to prioritize as well. So meaning that because we cannot invest in every aspect, some can, well, it depends on your portfolio of your wealth basically, but sometimes you have to prioritize. Like, I want to grow this, I want to build on this, I want to specifically gain capital gains on maybe the type of stock after doing some kind of research. So you have to prioritize, and that is very key. And lastly, after prioritizing and planning, you have to get into the act of practicing specifically here, because we know practice makes permanent. So basically, you have to basically constantly practicing every good approach that it is for you to start investing. So basically, my overall take into the whole long-term finance or long-term investment thing is the 3 Ps: planning, prioritizing, and practicing. Yeah. So I'll jump right into the challenges to long-term financial investment. So basically, we know the challenges are basically just barriers, difficulties for people not to, or young people to get into specifically long-term investment. Sorry, people are still asking, they can't get into the meeting, but okay. Sorry. So yeah, what are the challenges that you face? And I'm going to talk about, I think my next speaker will be more of a micro space in terms of discussing these challenges, meaning he will be more into individual aspect. I would talk about the challenges in a more general scope, while he will build on other areas as well. So one thing I think everybody, because I'm talking from, I'm from Sierra Leone, by the way. So I know everybody from the call right now is screaming that, okay, you're telling me to invest in stock, you're telling me to invest in precious metal and stuff like that. Well, one of the key challenge here that youths in Africa are finding difficult is low income and unemployment. Because remember, the cycle of investment, it has to do with savings. And from savings, then you can invest. And after saving investment, there comes the capital appreciation, there comes profit, there come other things as well. So one of the challenges that people face is basically low income and with basically high unemployment rates in Africa. Because if you take a look at this, if you are unemployed, means that you have low income. If you are, or basically, let's say you're being paid, because most countries in Africa are basically LIC countries, low income countries, and basically some of our governments, people cannot actually invest in long-term investment for their country. So basically, this is also very true when it comes to young people as well. Sorry, I need to set a time for this. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. Unemployment, low income, it's also a problem here. And then the next thing I want us to focus on is the problem of reinvestment. So while we didn't we say have set the pace into long-term investment has to do with over a year, mainly stock, real estate. But again, even building business is long-term investment, time, money into it. So I just want to move away beats to come back to something that is more personalized to people, because we the last session has been on stock and every other thing. But even in business, for example, you want to build a business, it's also part of long-term investment. But one thing you're going to see, and this is also coming from one of the richest men in Africa, Aliko Dangote. He mentioned in one of his interviews, saying that the problem with many youths in Africa is the fact that whatever profit they get from their investment, it is difficult for them to reinvest that money again. It's basically on personal expenses or something that is basically going to give them that gratification, that public acceptance. So meaning with long term, remember, it's start with planning because it's for the long term. So whatever you do, everything in business or in company accounts, you have something called retained earnings. There has to be some money in the business to retain or to keep the business going. So basically, it's the same thing when it comes to investment. Let's say, for example, you invest in stock, for example, whatever happened from that stock, capital appreciation or whatever, maybe you can sell that stock and that share, and then maybe you make more money from it. And what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to do and expand on something? And remember, we're not talking about short term here. Short term is basically, I want to do schooling, I want to buy a car, I want to buy this and this. So basically, that without investing, it is difficult for us to see progress. And that's one of the challenges we have when it comes to long-term finance. And the next big thing is financial illiteracy. And this is the reason why DYV Africa is actually hosting this type of session, is basically to make sure that people are more financially aware or educated, because this is also the other problem. And this is crucial for us to understand what are key when it comes to investment, and what are basically things that are not key. So for example, the big example is when in 2007, before 2007, 1988 to 2007, people all over the world, whether in America specifically or in the developed countries, they thought that housing is basically owning a house is basically an asset. That when the crash came in 2008, people started realizing that the house that I'm owning probably might not even be an asset, could be a liability, because this time around the market crashed, defaulters into loan and all the other things. So we need to build a space into what are assets. For youth, for example, assets are something that gives you return, right? Now, what are your liabilities? So you have to understand, even when you go to long-term investment, because like I said, we're not just going to long-term investment. You might not have the money now, but what are you going to build up to that period for you to buy this precious metal, this mutual fund, this equity, and other things like that? You have to educate yourself. Without much, one of the godfather of investment, Warren Buffett, he always mentioned this point. You have to know the stock you're buying. You have to know the company. You have to study the market. You have to do everything. Financial literacy is one of the things that is a challenge to long-term investment. Lack of investment options as well. This is also a challenge for many youths in Africa. For my country, for example, Sierra Leone, we do not have the stock exchange markets. So many people have reached out to me. How can we invest? How can I invest in this? How can I put money? What can I do with my money? And sit at home and just look at the stock market, the the peak, the lows and stuff like that. It's very difficult for, and that is true for also many countries in Africa that do not have. And even when the stock market is available, for some countries, it's not even that formalized or more proper, as you can see when you have to go to the US or other places. I think one of the few active stock market that we can speak of is Egypt, South Africa, I think Botswana as well, Nigeria, and these are countries with higher listing as well. Some countries are low listings, and then if you have a boxed in about low listing, you cannot have options to invest in stock and other things as well. So that's also another key thing. And for Sierra Leone, one of the safest way for you to invest is basically treasury. Even the banks, you will see them put money in treasury. Personal funds will just go into treasury because it's safe. And remember, if the investment is not too risky, the return is very low. Well, that's also a rule when it comes to investment. And the other parts I want to just blend these three things and then just discuss is the regulatory constraint that we are having here in Africa. Well, specifically in my country, per se, it's difficult for you to just take out $1,000 or $2,000, $5,000. Say, I want to go and invest this amount of money. What is going to happen is that there are a lot of paperwork, a lot of taxes, a lot of things that are happening. These are challenges as well. And even if you want to go into, I think, other countries as well, the stock markets, you have to have a broker, you have to have this, you have to have that, you have to fill in this, you have to fill in paperwork. So those are also constraints that we are having. Tax incentive and not, you have to claim for this. There's a whole principle when it comes to withholding taxes and all that. So regulatory constraints are there as well. And that could discourage people from also investing. And we have limited trust in financial institution. We have a story here in Sierra Leone, and a lot of people do not trust the banking system, for example, let's say, because also the reason why I'm bringing a bank here is when it comes to long-term investment, first of all, the cycle, let's go back to it. You have to start saving, right? When you save, then you can have money to invest. So basically the bank also plays a crucial role in terms of long-term investment. And a lot of people do not have faith in those financial institutions. We have got stories of banks in Africa who, after collecting so many deposits from people, they closed out or run out of funds, filed for bankruptcy, and that's the end of the story. So yeah, that also a part. Cultural belief as well. Yeah, I can blend the two together. A lot of people do believe that, putting your money in the bank is a waste of time, or having stock. What if the stock market just rise and fall? And we see quite recently with Bitcoin as well. A lot of people, there was a buzz wherein a lot of young people were just putting money into crypto and stuff like that, and then the market just crashed. Well, we know the story now. So a lot of people are basically having that belief or that practice that, no, I mind if I put my money here, when am I going to see it? When am I going to get it? And a lot of young people just want this quick money. So it's sometimes to be like, oh, if I put my money here, I'm not going to see it for the next how many years. I've got people come to me saying, I did invest in a share in a particular bank. The dividend is so small. What am I going to do? I can't wait this long. So that practice, that cultural belief that putting your money somewhere that you are not in control of cannot benefit you in any way, that's also a constraint. And limited access to banking services as well. There are other ways as well, because the reason why I keep going back to when it comes to banking, saving, you have to start somewhere. And when we talk about long-term investment, is basically the building. You have to start somewhere. You have to build on it. You have to, and then because the whole conversation has been into specifically, sorry. Okay, sorry. So limited access to banking services and other things as well. So that can actually be a challenge. I see somebody's reminded me of my time and stuff like that. Well, let me just these are some solutions that I have for everybody. So if you're saying you can just screenshot, you can just maybe take something from me. You have the entrepreneurship and start early, be consistent with that as well. Starting early is basically, the old thing about long-term investments is to start early. There's a saying from Kiyosaki is about basically making sure that you have to learn new skills every day and get into that form as well. Learn to prioritize and make sacrifices as well. I don't know. If there is any other thing I can actually talk about later on. I think I have to give all the people chance to speak as well. These are many slides here, and like the moderator is actually asked. Yeah. So yeah. Over to you. And if I can come in, I can actually come in again. So yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fode. Thank you very much. You have explained the challenges well. In summary, you talked about low income, high unemployment. The youth do not reinvest. They actually keep on eating their profits. People don't trust financial institutions. I think that's something common that's in Africa. For someone who works in a bank, I'd say I agree with that as well. Financial literacy as well. People are financially illiterate. Culture, beliefs, and practices, and lack of investment options. Thank you very much for giving us a highlight about the challenges that we are facing in Africa. Okay, so how about we talk about practical solutions? How about we talk about examples relating to long-term finance? I think that would actually do as well. Siata, are you ready to tackle on that topic? You had a few challenges earlier on. I hope he's in. Siatla, are you in? Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me from that side?
Yeah, loud and clear, sir. Loud and clear, sir.
Yes, please. I will ask that if there's another speaker before me, can you allow them to go on? Trying to sort one or two things here. I'll come on immediately after.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Sarah, are you ready to tackle on the solutions, challenges and solutions to long-term financial investments? Hello, Sarah.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, madam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much. So I was hoping to get logged on using my laptop, but we've reached maximum capacity. So I hope I'll be able to do it using my phone to share my slides. My presentation. Are you able to share the screen as I'm trying to see if I'm able to do it from here?
Okay. Let me try and share.
I will still start with the presentation, and the screen will pop up when it does. I am talking about practical solutions. We've had two wonderful speakers who've gone ahead of me, and I'll take us back quickly to the first presenter. She mentioned that you need to be at a place where you understand that nobody is coming to rescue you. You are in it. Like you need to take responsibility. This is your life. This is your future. If you want something to change, you have to do it yourself. And she also mentioned something about starting now, not waiting for when everything else aligns, when you have all the money that you can think of. Stop giving excuses and execute the investment plan now. The second speaker talked about planning, prioritizing. The truth is we have unlimited needs. And at each and every point, whether you make 1 million, you make 100 kwacha, you make 10,000 kwacha, at whatever point you are, you're going to have more needs than the resources that you have. The solution is learning how to live within your means at that particular time. So my name is Sarah, and I'm going to talk about, I'll quickly highlight challenges. My colleague has already mentioned it, but in this, maybe two things I want to highlight. And if you've noticed my title, challenges have been put in lowercase, while solutions has been highlighted, because we need to get to a point where we stop talking about challenges and just the problems and it ends there, to now being more solution oriented, to finding solutions. Okay, so we have regulation issues. What is the solution? We do not have a lot of money as youths. What is the solution? So I'm going to dwell mostly on the solutions. Can you take me to the next slide, please? So on the next slide, before we go there, I have some of the personal challenges that we as youths face. And the first one is age. Youths normally think you're in your 50s, you're retiring, you don't have anything to fall back on. So do not let age be that thing that limits you. Secondly, I'm really cruising over this because I want us to dwell mostly on the solutions. Lack of information. We are not going out there to search for information. Nothing is going to be handed to you on a silver platter. You need to be invested. This is your life. This is your future. This is your financial wellness that we're talking about. So if you are not taking deliberate steps to get information about the different investment vehicles, then nothing will work. And then the other thing is, people do not know themselves. Investment, there are different type of investment vehicles. Earlier the presenter mentioned a few of them. You need to understand what type of an investor are you. There are what we call money personalities. Some people are spenders, some people are savers, some people are hoarders of money, some people fear money. So like there are different personalities of money that you need to understand. So the first thing that you need to learn is what is my personal, what's my financial personality? How do I react when I have money? Are you somebody who plans well, but the moment money hits your account or whatever it is, all the plans go out and you go on a spending spree? So it's important to understand the type of person you are with your finances, because it is from there when you get to implement different investment vehicles. The other challenge is procrastination. As youths, we normally think, I'll do it next year, I'll do it the other year. I'm like, I'm only 15, I'm only 19, I'm only 25. I have 30 more years to work. So procrastination is another killer. Lastly, on the challenges is copy and paste. What works for somebody else might not work for you. Because you need to understand, we come from different backgrounds, we have different financial capacities, we have different information at our disposal. So don't just copy and paste. Oh, this one, I saw somebody do this, let me just jump in, without properly understanding what you're jumping into. So copy and pasting sometimes can be a challenge. Quickly towards the solutions. And take me to the next slide, please. Okay, so on the solutions that we have, I'm excited because they're practical. They're things that you can literally apply. Number one, like I mentioned, self-awareness is key. You need to understand how much risk you're able to stomach as an individual, and the type of investments that you can take on. Some investments are high risk, some investments are low risk. So it's important to understand yourself and how much risk you can take, so that you're able to pair yourself with the correct investment vehicle. Secondly, use the same age, which was initially a challenge, use it to your advantage. You have the energy, you're able to take on more risk. So that should be your leverage. You can really experiment because you have extra time. You're able to try out several vehicles and find out which one works for you. The third solution is, and this one cannot be overemphasized, invest in knowledge. Pay for knowledge if you have to, but make sure you invest in it. Attend classes, check on YouTube, read books, how people are doing investments. You cannot just invest because somebody said they are invested in this. Take your time to personally research on different vehicles and find the one that is suited for you. So you cannot afford to not invest in getting financial knowledge and financial literacy. Start investing like yesterday. Today we're actually late. So investing means you start with where you are and what you have. For example, somebody only has 1,000 kwacha, or maybe 10,000. I did my research, and my study showed that the average salary in Malawi is between 150,000. It also goes to maybe 750. I know some people earn more, but that's the average salary. So with whatever you're earning, you need to find a way of making it balanced. The same way you say rent is a must. If you're staying on your own and rented, rent is a must. You find a way of making it work. Begin to develop a habit. It could be you tell yourself every month, regardless of what happens, I'll be able to save maybe 100 kwacha to 500 kwacha. It doesn't have to be a huge amount, especially if you're starting out. Because if it's a huge amount, you are literally shooting yourself in the leg. You will fill the gap. But if you build up the habit by doing maybe small amounts, and every time you're making incremental growth, you're increasing the amount. When I started my investment journey into the stock market, I think 2-3 years ago, I got, in Zambia, it's 500 kwacha. That should be equivalent to about 250,000 in Malawi. In Zambia, it's not a lot of money. And when I told somebody I'm going to start, it's because I wanted the process to get rolling. So in your situation, with the income that you have, be it 10,000, be it 500, find a way of starting. Find a way of starting and don't stop. Continue to add more. We are talking about long-term investments. It's not a short race. We are talking about a marathon. It's going to take years to build. That's how we build wealth. It's going to take a lot of time. So be patient, take it easy, start small, start wherever you are. Just start. Let's move on. Another important aspect on this journey to building long-term investments, building our wealth, growing as an individual, it's the people you associate with. A lot of writers have said if you hang with four millionaires, you'll be the fifth one. So the company you keep, the network you keep is literally translating into your net worth. If all your friends are talking about, oh, we are young, let's go and chill. We are young, let's go and party every weekend. What am I going to talk about saving? So find yourself around company that is going to push you or towards your goal. Company that is going where you're going. I'm actually very glad that a lot of people joined in. This is amazing. It means as Africans, we are now taking up and taking up space and taking a stand, because it's enough of other people who coming into Africa and benefiting, whilst we, the owners of Africa, do not benefit. So I actually think it is critical that your circle be headed where you are headed. They should be like-minded. Before I conclude, another thing is accountability. Find a way of, among your friends, you can pick a partner who you're going to give an account. That way, you when you want
Is it my network or we've lost Sarah?
I believe we've lost her.
Yeah, me too. I can't hear her.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. No, apologies for that. I think the network in Zambia must be bad. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen.
can you
Yes,
hear
finally.
me?
Yes. Yes, we can. We
Sorry.
can.
I think I had intermittent in a network. So I was saying, if create a system, if you are a spender, you know yourself, why not put give the bank an order saying once my account money hits my account, remove 10% or maybe 5% and push it here, so that you don't even have to touch it. Do you know the reason that the government does not allow you to pay them tax from your money yourself, but rather they've created a system where before you even touch your money, they've already gotten their share? Why not also think of investment as a tax? Before you start using your money, why can't it be deducted, and then whatever is deducted is pushed towards a different or whatever investment vehicle you picked? The first presenter mentioned several investment vehicles that one can do. And with the last one before I close, portfolio diversification. I think she started on it. You cannot invest in one thing because life is unpredictable at the end of the day, and the market moves differently. So we always say, find different investment vehicles so that in case one is hit, you are still standing. If you've put maybe the only 100,000 you have in one asset or one investment vehicle, if something happens to that vehicle, you know that your financial stability is gone. But if you spread your investments, even if one is hurt, you will know that, okay, I still need to work on it, but I still have other things that are going to back me up. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I am done. I end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for that insightful presentation. We've learned a lot. I have learned a lot. I've learned about the challenges. I did not know that Age was also a challenge. I did not know that. Lack of information, no self-awareness, procrastination. A lot of us do that. Copy and paste. A lot of us do that. I also love your solutions. I really love your solutions. Understand your money personality. Use age to your advantage. 3 people have actually said this solution. Start investing yesterday. Very powerful as well. Invest in knowledge. Invest in knowledge. Don't only invest in TikTok, no, invest in knowledge. Start where you are right now, and association. Yeah, I think I'm going to start associating myself with millionaires. And accountability, persistence. Thank you so very much, Sarah, for elaborating the challenges and the solutions as well. Truly thankful. Very, very thankful. Now, our last presenter from Botswana, I hope he's online. We had challenges a bit early on. From Botswana, Siaka, are you ready?
Are you ready? Yes, we are good this side.
Okay, great. Over to you then.
Great. Over to you then. I'm visible and audible that side.
100%.
100%. All right, wonderful. So I don't have a presentation, one of my challenges this side today. But I'm just going to go on because I think a lot of speakers have really touched on the most important pieces about long-term investing when it comes to a young person. And I think this is a conversation that is being had in so many different forums. All leaders are talking about it, where young people can invest, what type of investment. Do we even have the investments that actually suit a young person as a continent or as a country? So these are conversations that we have been embarking on. But I want to take a simple approach and maybe try and define investing really. Because most of the time when we talk about investing, we're talking about products that we can invest in. We're talking stocks, we're talking real estate, we're talking all of the sophisticated stuff. And the assumption is that when you get to invest in those things, you've already learned how to earn money. So I'm a bit obsessed with people investing their time and their skills and everything in learning how to actually earn money. And I know that a lot of young people are unemployed, so earning is a big issue. So when it comes to maybe investing in stock, it's something that they might be thinking about maybe much later on. So and the previous speakers, I think they have spoken well around issues of education and also around issues of time. I am a big advocate of time when it comes to investing because it's really about that. It's about time. The more time you have to invest, the bigger your investment is going to get. You know the principle of compound interest, right? It works like a snowball. When you start, it looks small. You keep on rolling it and rolling it and rolling it. And before you know it, it becomes this huge thing. In Botswana here, we have mandatory pension funds. I don't know if you in your countries you have that. So most people who are employed, as soon as they sign on the contract, an investment for retirement that is set up. The company contributes a sum, and then the employee contributes a sum. And it starts small. Over a period of time, when those people retire, they retire with millions. And all of them are always shocked, like, how did I build up so much money? But it's just a small percentage that comes from your pay that goes towards that. So over time, you do realize that the investment actually gets a lot bigger. But are young people willing to wait that long until they're in their 60s, until they're in their 70s to start enjoying the benefits of their investments? Because really, when we talk about investing, we are saying you are sacrificing something now. It could be time, it could be something else. But you are sacrificing something now so that later on you can reap the rewards of what you had invested. Just a moment, I think. Am I still audible on your side? There's
yes, you are.
Bit of a challenge on my side. You are. I am. Okay, wonderful. So yes, so investing is really about time. So when you are young, you have one time, and then expectations that comes from your community, the society, they are not really that big. I was telling one young man this past week that You know the advantage that you have when you are young. Nobody expects you to be driving a Range Rover or staying in a big house in an estate. Nobody expects that. Even when you are in your 40s, early 40s, nobody expects to see you driving those big cars. It's only that we put this much pressure in ourselves because we watch a lot of videos, we watch a lot of YouTube, and guys are saying that they're doing Forex and they're driving big cars. But on average, when you do your research, you realize that a lot of millionaires, they actually started being termed millionaires in their late 50s to understand this information so that we reduce the pressure on ourselves. Because if you are going to do any long-term investment, you need to stay away from pressure. You need to become investing slowly until you get to a point that you want to get to. But I wanted to speak more on the starting point for a young person, because I can't advise anyone to start by doing stocks. You can do it a small percentage of your pay, but I would advise that when you are young, you invest most of your money to such investment that can actually bring you a higher return. Because when you look at a lot of people who are invested in the stock market, most stock market, more especially in Africa, the biggest investors are institutions. The institutions and very, very wealthy people, right? So how much do wealthy people invest in the stock market? They buy shares, maybe they put in 100 million. You put in 100 million, you expect 10%. 10% is fine, because 10% of 100 million is 10 million in a year. That's a lot of money to make just sitting. But for a young person who puts in $1,000, $1,000 at the end of the year, 10% of that becomes $100. $100 is not really something to write home about. It's something that you can, yes, maybe experience the benefit in the longer term, but in the short term, medium term, is not going to benefit you that much. Now, the question that needs to be asked is, where do these wealthy people and these institutions get the money, that the 100 million that they invest in? They have a project, they have something that they are doing which actually generates a lot of money, which actually generates high income. It's a high risk, high return. So once they have done that, they have reinvested in that. The profits that come out, some will be reinvested, and then some will be used to invest in those long-term investment. Because the stock market, anyone who invests in the stock market will tell you this is not a short-term investment. You are not going to get significant, returns in a short space of time. It's over a long period of time. People who invest in real estate, they will tell you this is a long-term investment. It will take you maybe another 20, 30 years until you start getting real returns. So you have to find that one thing that can actually generate you the highest returns. And when you are young, it's easier to do that because you don't have the pressures of, say, family for most people. You don't have the pressures of expectations within society to say, now you have reached this age, we expect you to be here. So you can take your risk, you can move around, you can travel. Education, and I think the Sarah spoke about it very well when he said education. I remember when we were young, everyone was talking about you need to get educated because when you educate yourself now, the returns are going to be higher in future. But when we got to the future, we realized that the market was now flooded by educated people. So now economics applies. The market is flooded by educated people. That means that the demand now for educated people in the workplace starts to drop. So that's why you find a lot of young people now, they are not employed because the supply of educated people has way exceeded the demand, which means now we have to redefine education. What do we need to be educated on? Back then, you just needed to do any course, and then by the time you finish, you'll be absorbed into the work market. But now it's totally different. You need to educate yourself on things that can actually create value for institutions that are looking to employ people, right? A degree is no longer enough. A master's degree is no longer enough. So when we started work, we had people who had their masters, somewhere studying PhD, but they were still not being able to generate a higher income. Why? Because the skills that they had or the education that they have was not a needle mover when it comes to what the organization really needs. So when we look at what young people need to be studying right now, we need to be looking into the next 5 years. What is going to be what will the market be demanding in the next 5 years, right? We are looking at AI, the advancement of AI right now. It's advancing at a speed that if we don't catch up, it is going to leave us behind. So if you are a young person right now and you are going to school to study videography and editing for the next 5 years, trust me, in the next 2 years, AI will be editing videos. Actually, it has started doing that now, but it will be more advanced to an extent that you don't even need to hold a camera. There will be an app that actually holds the camera for you. You shoot and then it edits for you. So it's a total waste of time for you to be educating yourself in editing for the next 5 years, because you know where AI is going. So then you need to switch and say, what is it that it's not here now, but people are talking about, which is going to be generating, which is going to be in high demand in the next 5 years. So that is how we need to be looking at education. Otherwise, we are just going to continue educating ourselves, but we will be overrun by time. So those are things that I mostly obsess on. Those are things that I like to educate people on. So we look at nowadays, a lot of young people are not working, and they are, I think there are people talking on the background. Can you?
Kriya, may you please go on mute?
Siatla, we can get you. Still.
Siatla, I think your mic is on mute.
Oh, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Oh, okay, wonderful. I was saying, nowadays, because a lot of young people can't find formal employment, and we need the formal employment for you to earn some money, for you to start saving, for you to invest some of your savings, for you to do risk management and the whole process of wealth creation, right? Because we are really talking about wealth creation. We're talking about investing. It's all about wealth creation. But nowadays, because of the advancement of technology, a lot of young people can take risks. We know that there are platforms, and we need to be comfortable talking about these platforms nowadays. Your forex platforms. We need to be comfortable talking about your crypto platforms, because these are real platforms. I engage with a lot of young people who are highly engaged in this, and most of them, they will tell you, I've been studying this thing, I've been doing it for the past 3 years, 5 years, and nowadays they earn a good living, and they're able to actually make some money that they can use now also to get involved in real estate, to get involved in stocks, to get involved in this. So we can't only be waiting. So education is very important. So every time when I look at a product or a way of creating wealth, it could be in line of the cryptos, it could be in line of your own skills, right? I always say, as a young person, the highest forms of risk in types of investments is exactly where we need to be. For us, most of us, we were really we were really scared to get into some of these platforms when we started. I remember sometimes, was it 2011 when Bitcoin came. I think it was going for 0 point something US dollars, the coin. And everyone was talking about how this thing is a scam. It can't. And what we did not know at the time was that it's okay to take those risks, as long as you take those risks with a small percentage of your pay. If we had done that, we could have benefited a lot. But most importantly, if we had studied it to understand what this technology is all about, because not educating yourself, that is the thing that is going to be killing us as Africans. I will say this and I will repeat this. Educating ourselves, using our age as an advantage to take high risks, and not being scared of losing while we are still young, because nobody expects us to be wealthy, to be rich, to be driving big cars and staying in big houses. That is the greatest advantage that we have as young African youth. And I think our greatest advantage compared to maybe the world is the fact that most of us are quite educated. Most of us have gone to school. The only thing that we need to do right now is to leverage the technology that we have, study online, study things that will be required in the next 5 years and the next 10 years. If you look at the community of small businesses that are coming up in Africa, a lot of them will be struggling with systems. A lot of them are struggling with understanding service and sales, and which cuts across Africa. We are not just talking about you in your own little country, right? Something that cuts across Africa. Right now in my country, we are only 2 million. And if I was going to stay in my country because I'm scared of risk, I can't scale to an extent where I can make $1 billion in this country, right? So I need to get into South Africa, I need to get into Zambia, I need to get into Zim. So I need to be thinking about ways of getting into those countries. And guess what? In my business, I have a young person who decided that I'm not going to go to work. There's this small business, I want to help it. I have this technology that can be used to scale. It will go outside. I'm not even selling it. I'm just going to present it. If it makes sense, we start making money. If the money is made, then I can also get my return from it. So we need to be taking those risks as young people. Because I don't have a presentation, I'm not going to go on and on. I'm going to stop here. So that I can allow maybe for questions to come later. Maybe then we can expand on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zeka. Thank you very much. Truly insightful. I've picked up a few pointers from your presentation. Investing is all about time. Patience is about wealth creation. Invest in investments that give you higher returns. Education, invest in education. Take risks, leverage on technology. And it's okay to take risk with a percentage of your pay or income. And you said that let's educate ourselves with age. Age is our greatest advantage, as we'll be able to make more income because of our age. So thank you very much to all our presenters. Very insightful, very helpful. We have learned a lot. But now it's time for questions. I know that people are burning with questions inside. I saw a few questions in the chat box. Let me see who to start with. Okay. Malumbo Saka asked a question. Or is it okay? Simon Dare asked a question. He asked, why start investing now when I have immediate financial burdens to balance my obligations like student loans, rent, and other expenses? That's the first question. I think Sarah should take that question. And then there's another question by Malumbo Saka. Malumbo asks, in Malawi, to buy. Sarah, I hope you took note of that question. The question was, why start investing now when I have immediate financial burdens to balance my obligations like student loans, rent, and other expenses? Sarah, you're going to take that question.
Yes.
Dindwas? Okay, you can go ahead before we ask the other question. You can take that question.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the question because it's something that almost everyone here has had to face. There's a point where you sit down and ask yourself, why should I invest? So investing is you're doing it now so that in the future you are cushioned. You say currently you have obligations like rent, student loans, and whatnot. And then the way life is, the more we progress, the more responsibilities you're going to have. So if right now your excuse is, I have other obligations, truth is, 2 years from now, you even have more obligations. what we're saying is from what you're earning now, I'm not even saying put away a huge chunk. I'm saying put away something and work with compounding interest so that a time comes when it's time to pay rent, you don't have to go out and look for the money, because remember, we are growing old, and the older you grow, the less strength you have. Your strength is reducing. So we're saying start putting something aside now, little as it may be. There is what we call compound interest that will help you. A few years from now, if you are consistent with putting aside the small amounts, the passive income will get to a place where it starts helping you pay off some of the obligations. So you're basically just buying yourself some time in the future. Instead of working 24 hours because you need to rest, you need to do other things, and you also need to maybe dedicate time to your family, the money that you've invested now will be doing the work for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I think I had a problem with my network as well. Okay, so there is another question from Malumbo Saka. Malumbo has asked a question, and it goes like this. And this question is directed to Dindwase. I think she'll be the person to answer this question. Okay, in Malawi, to buy shares on the Malawi Stock Exchange, one has to go through stockbrokers. Is it the same for bonds? Do we need to go through some sort of brokers as well to buy bonds? Dindwase, over to you.
Thank you very much, Stan, and thank you very much for that question. The answer is yes. What happens mostly is in Malawi, we do have fund managers who can actually manage various investments on your behalf. So most of the fund managers have positioned themselves to be more or less like your one-stop shop. So you can go there to buy shares. You can go there to buy, to say I want to invest in bonds, and even just a mere fixed deposit. If say you don't want to commit yourself for longer terms, maybe you just want to do 3 months or even just 1 month. So the fund managers, we've got the likes of Stockbrokers Malawi, Nico Asset Managers, Old Mutual, NBM Capital, Lifeco. All these do provide a one-stop shop that you can invest your various investments. Thank you, Stan.
Thank you very much, Dindwase. We also have another question. Questions are coming in from left, right, and center. I think Siatla, you should answer this question. Yeah, this one should go to you. The question is from Malumbo Saka as well. Malumbo is asking, if there are no investment options in one's country, is it possible to invest in another, in a foreign country? Are there prerequisite requirements to invest in foreign countries? Siatla, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yes, there are no limitations nowadays. Maybe back in the day, but nowadays we can invest in other countries. I mean, for instance, in my country, Botswana, the stock market, it's trying to be active, but it's mostly dominated by institutional investors. So you can imagine it's not very active. So you can put money there. The capital gains are going to be very, very slow. Dividends not coming most of the time. Or very small. So, but when you go to Joburg, it's a different story. It's a bit more active, but still not that active as if you compare it to the New York Stock Exchange. So nowadays, I think because of technology also, you don't even need to go into that country to put up your investments. There are so many different platforms that you can use to invest in the New York Stock Exchange, in the London Stock Exchange, or use indexes to invest in if you don't understand which stock you want to buy. So there are so many options nowadays that are available that you can use to invest in. And then also, let us not only look at, because investing can be in so many different things. I think earlier on, there's one presenter who spoke about business, because business is really what I advocate for, because it's the highest level of risk that you can take. And sometimes you find that there are so many opportunities in another country, but in your country there are not so many. But maybe you have the product that country needs. I think that's something that we really need to get used to. Down here in Southern Africa, we are so used to the movement between Botswana and Zambia, between Botswana and Zim, between Zim and Zambia, Botswana and South Africa. There's a lot of trade going on in those countries. We easily move, because people have realized that you can't always find the opportunities that you want in one country. So we need to be looking at trying to find investments also in other countries. So there's absolutely nothing stopping you. But as far as maybe some of the most sophisticated investments, then maybe you might have to go through regulation and stuff like that. But as far as I'm concerned, nowadays, if you want to buy some stocks, there are brokers that are there online. You just need to log in online, create a profile, and then you'll be able to buy some stocks, some indexes in the United States, in the UK. You are able to invest anywhere that you want.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So we also have another question, and this one should go to Fode.
This one should go to Fode.
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 Okay, where's that question?
Hi all, as we're waiting for Stanley to find that question, I have popped a Google Forms link on the chat box. So please make sure you go on there and fill it up so that we use it to send your certificate of attendance. Thank you.
My apologies. I was kicked out. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, but the question, I've also lost the questions because I was kicked out. But the question was to Fode. It was about what strategies can be put in place so that the youth can start cultivating the interest for long-term investments.
Yeah, thank you very much. And exactly from CFLR and many other discussions from the beginning. Like we said, culture is a thing here. Another way to, I think also I was expecting someone to delve on that, is to show practical example of what long-term investment have done for people. We need to start showing evidences of what this is, even though most of the discussion has been around passive income and whatnot, not really a strategy of how to beat the market, in terms of pegging. But yeah, education, like we have said from the beginning to the end of the conversation, is just to go out there, learn, understand, and that is basically will position you into how to make some key terms in terms of investments, and starting early as well. Like it could be small amounts, open a bank account if you can, or if you have somebody was saying about piggy bank or stuff like that, yeah, that those kind of work as well. So basically, to cultivate the culture is basically to start, and once you start, you have to prioritize, and knowing that you have to set a financial goal for yourself, short term, long term. You have to start like a step. This is the short term, this is the medium term, and this is the long term. Because for you to get to the long term, there has to be a starting point. So just that practice of saying a commitment to whatever I'm doing, and this is what I want to achieve. This is for retirement. This is for me to house or whatever it is. So you have to constantly cultivate that attitude. Read more or learn about new things, because work to learn and I work for money, per se. So to cultivate is basically attending webinars or cultures or events like this. I mean, just practicing and success stories to others. That's how we can actually help to cultivate.
Thank you very much for that. It seems we're running out of time, but I'll take one question. I'll take one question from Pimwenda. I'll take a question from Pimwenda. He has his hand up. Mr. Pimwenda, you can ask it.
Thank you, Stan, for the recognition. I hope I'm being heard. Am I?
Yes, you are, sir.
All right. Mine is not a question, but just a comment with a life experience. I think I appreciate a lot of lessons coming from the contributors of today. And I do agree with the notion of starting small. Mainly, I think I want to comment because of the question that popped up to say, in this time that we have a lot of financial needs that they may need to be addressed by the income that we have. How can we be able to invest? I think I had the same notion when I was when I just got employed, and then I was like, no, this. I think by that time I was earning 310,000 Malawi kwacha. So I was like, this is too small. I mean, what can I save from here? If I save here, what will I stay with? What will be remaining? How will I be able to cover these expenses? But after I'd read this other book, I think it's I don't know whether you guys have gone through it. It's The Richest Man in Babylon. That book enlightened my mind and my thinking, because I got to the principle where it was saying that it has 7 cures for you to cure your wallet, the wallet that has got nothing, for you to have something at the end of the day. So it brought about 7 principles. And one of it was that there is a need to control our expenditures. From there, it was saying that you don't have to finish all the 100% of your earning. At least the minimum that you can set aside is 10% of that income. And I think the contributors today were also saying that you can start as small as possible, because in the long run, it won't be the same. And this is what happened to me. After a year of employment, I was like, and after a year, that's when I got into to find that book. And then I was like, so if I was saving 10% of my income in 12 months, that means I could have had 370 something thousand. I was like, so the small amount here should not matter. I should still be putting the small amount of this 10%. And trust me, after that, I started practicing it. Of course, it was hard. Some months whereby it's maybe 3 or 4 days before the payday. You know how broke we become when in those 4 days before the payday, and you began to get tempted to say, maybe I should go back and get something from the saving. But if you enhance the principle that one of the contributors said here, that we should practice and practice. then just practicing that to say, no, this is for another goal. Then at the end of the day, you find that you have moved from where you had nothing and you have saved something. I think the second example that I wanted to put is to say, when we are trying or finding somewhere to invest in, we should also be very, very, very careful. Of course, one of the principles that we should have in our minds is that we should really try to find those that are well-established institutions and those that will not be tricked at the end of the day. I have that, I think, here in Malawi, most of the college people and those that were trying to do some financial breakthrough, including myself, was in that mess. We invested with this other company and we lost a lot of millions. But from there, we didn't give up. We learned a lesson that maybe our risk assessment wasn't good at the start of the investment. So when you're starting to invest, also make sure that you do not get much carried away with the returns that you are promised. So make sure that we go into the platforms that are well established and those that are of the risk that we will be able to bear. I think that's what I can contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your contributions. Yes, there are scammers out there. They are going to scam you out of your money, and saving should be a culture. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. I'll not be able to take any more questions as we are running out of time. I know that people are eagerly also waiting to go and watch Bayern Munich murder Manchester United and Arsenal beats PSV Eindhoven. So let me ask Bongani if he's got any closing remarks. But I have learned a lot. I shouldn't lie. Thank you to all our contributors. Thank you to all our presenters. And thank you for everyone who asked your questions. They have been very, very, I've loved them, honestly speaking. They've taught me a lot and I've been enriched greatly. I think we should also continue this topic one more day because I think that the time wasn't enough. Yes. My apologies. Someone is saying that I had to throw the shade to Manu. Of course, they're going to lose. Okay, so let me call Bongani with her closing remarks before I wrap up.
All right. Thank you so much, Stanley. Just like you, and I believe everybody else on the call, I have also learned a lot relating to these long-term financial investments. Our panelists have really done a great job in diving deep into the type of investments that you can venture in and the challenges that you can face as well. So I just wanted to highlight that I have shared a link on the chat to our private Facebook group. Someone had mentioned that can we proceed with the networking that has taken place in this meeting? Can we continue it outside? And we can do so on the private Facebook group. And also, I'm happy to say that after this panel discussion, our next panel discussion is going to focus on forming small-scale investment funds. Because as you saw, as some of the panelists highlighted, some of the challenges that are there include, the funds, finding funds, or seeing that your funds are not enough to make some big investments. And one solution to that is having an investment fund where, for example, you can have a group, for example, family and friends, and you put together funds in a predetermined time period, for example, monthly. And then from there, as a collective, you invest in these long-term financial investments. So in our next panel discussion, we are going to focus on how you can form an investment fund, how you can manage, and how you can grow it like that. Other than that, let me express my sincere gratitude to our panelists for sparing your time this evening to be a part of this panel discussion, to share with us your skills and your invaluable experiences so that we can be more informed on this topic. And thank you so much to the audience for also sparing your time. You guys have done a really good job, in sharing the posters, etc. And we have reached maximum capacity. We reached maximum capacity, I must say, in the participants. Some people were complaining. This is something that we'll definitely have to fix in our next panel discussion so that everybody who's interested to join will have to join. My sincere apologies that this time we reached maximum limit. And I must say, to some extent, I was a bit happy because that shows that so many people are interested in this topic, and it's a very important conversation to have. But on the other end, it's so sad to see that some people couldn't join. So we're going to work on that next time. And also, Stanley, thank you so much for hosting this panel discussion, and looking forward to having you again in the upcoming panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bongani. Thank you very much. To our presenters, once again, thank you very much. You guys are awesome, excellent. You've taught us a lot, and we're going to invest in long-term financial investments. To the audience from all across Africa, you guys were great, awesome. All I can say is that may the good Lord bless you all. To our sponsors, Jazza Center, you're always with us. Ritz Attorneys, you're always with us. If you want lawyers, Ritz Attorneys are available. Marifa Sasa, thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Ngani's Online Center, Ngani's online shop, my apologies. If you want to look good, Ngani's online shop is always there for you. So until next time, I think Bongani will communicate. You will see a poster, you see a flyer. We're going to be talking about financing again. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for joining. May the good Lord bless you all. Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. So I sent a link to the Google Forms link, which we're going to use to collect your details and send the certificate of attendance. And I'm seeing that the response rate is not very high. So I just encourage you to check on the chat box and respond to that link, to that form rather, because that's the only way that we'll get back to you and give you the certificate. And in the link, it includes, some questions like the key takeaways. Please feel free to share some of the main things that you have learned here so that we can also publish those and other people can learn and join us in the upcoming panel discussions as well. Thank you.